welcome back to our channel. We are back. We wanted to introduce officially our baby. At the end of this video, we are going to tell you her name and finally reveal that, but she is 5.5 weeks old. We wanted to just kind of do a rundown of her birth story and everything that happened. If you haven't seen that birth vlog yet, you can check that out, but we're gonna give more details of what happened and how we were feeling. So the weeks leading up to her birth were really crazy. You can see our birth video, or the video where I went into labor, and that will give you some more details. But anyway, it was like weeks of waiting to go into labor, and then finally on October 14th, I went into labor, kind of for real. And then we had a horrible emergency, and it was really scary.
So basically, like that night, 2 o'clock and stuff, Kuya Teo and I woke up. And we were cuddling in the couch, and then as soon as Kuya Teo was ready to sleep, Mama yelled, "John, my water broke!" And both Teo and I kind of just like, "What?" I put Teo down. I started the water for the pool, because the pool is already set up right here in the living room.
Yeah. If you don't know, we were planning an unassisted home water birth.
Yep.
Not going to the hospital.
Yep. So. And so it was so ready and whatnot. I put Teo to his bed, and he started crying. And so that kind of added the stress and whatnot. And then Lora, and then I just realized Laura hasn't left the bathroom, and she was crying. And that's when you said, like, you're bleeding. At that point, I'm too, like, what's the word? Shocked, I think, or something, that it didn't hit me that what bleeding meant and stuff. And so, like, but I was still just trying to say, like, everything will be okay. Call the doctor, call the hospital, call mom, then we'll figure it out.
Yes. So my mom came over, and I have a little background in midwifery. I went to school a little bit, and I know a lot about birth. So I already knew that this was an emergency that we needed help with, and we couldn't stay home and have our baby safely. And so at this point, I didn't even know if the baby was still alive. So I went and called my mom, and she came right over. She lives close. And I called the hospital, let them know that we were coming, and we hurried so fast. So within 15 minutes, we were at the hospital.
And like that whole time, we were like talking, and it's like, and I think that's when Laura said, it's like, you know what this means?
Oh yeah. So at this point, I was starting to say this before. At this point, I didn't know if she was alive, because once the placenta detaches from the uterus, like the inside, the thing that keeps her alive, was coming away and bleeding, and that's what caused it all. And so she can't survive that. She cannot live. That's her lifeline. So I hadn't felt her move. I didn't know that she was still alive.
Yeah. For people that doesn't know, the baby, when they're in the belly, they don't really breathe with their nose.
Oh,
really? Really, right? Because they're underwater. You know, like the fluid and what. Basically, the cord's the one that's helping them breathe and whatnot. And like, and the whole thing is attached to the placenta and all those stuff. And when the placenta is out, then there's no oxygen for the baby, and that's right.
Do you really feel like you explained that better than I did?
I thought that,
yeah. It was like you're trying to simplify it, and you didn't really.
Yeah, it's called mansplaining. No, sorry. Anyways, but yeah.
So you guys get the gist. It's called placental abruption. Super dangerous.
Medical way, street explanation.
Okay.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Anyways.
So John got me to the hospital really fast, and on the way I said a prayer that I would just be able to feel her move if she's still alive. And I felt the tiniest little kick underneath my hand right at that moment. And so I knew she was at least alive. We were sitting there waiting for the nurse, and I mean, long story short, we knew that I was bleeding so much that it wasn't safe.
Yep.
And so we just moved forward with the C-section. We all knew it was what we needed to do.
Actually, at the time I was like, well, we're gonna try to get out of here as best as we can, so we can still have our home birth and whatnot. But I think after I accepted the C-section, after the nurse checked you, and like the first gush of blood, because I saw it, like she was checking you for dilation, then as soon as she pulled her finger, everything just goes.
Yeah, and so it was obvious to all of us, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Anyway, so a C-section was my worst fear ever to happen, but in that moment, I did not care. I was so happy and excited that we were about to meet our baby and that she was gonna be safe. So it's crazy how your mind can shift and it's like, oh, this will be fun. So we actually had a really good time. We were laughing and we weren't really upset at all.
It's sad, but yeah, I think it was worth it.
At that time, it was like happy and good. But I feel like it was sad afterwards and the recovery.
Because everybody, during the recovery, every nurse that we had like 4 nurses, and every nurse that we had always say, "I'm sorry you didn't get what you were planning for, but I'm glad that you're alive." We're like, so do we.
Yeah, and at that time of being in the hospital and like the obviousness, is that a word?
Sure. You're asking Filipino.
For that time in the hospital, you can see right in front of you, it's obvious that your life was saved, your baby's life was saved, so it needed to happen. But then it was the time after that it hit me, like I was really sad that I didn't get the birth I wanted. But that's just because of the distance from the experience. But still, we're so grateful for how it worked out.
Yeah, and it's so cool because, our first hospital birth was like a disaster. It was so hard. I mean, Eli came natural.
It wasn't even any emergency, but it was a terrible experience.
Yeah, it was the most terrible experience, and that's one of the reasons why we are always doing home births, and things like that. But this one is like an emergency, but it was still an awesome experience.
Yeah, and that had a lot to do with our amazing nurses and doctors. There was no judgment. We didn't feel like people thought we were crazy or,
Even though we are. But the cool thing is, the cool thing is like the doctor was like, it's like, you need to be a midwife. You're like, because she came right when she's supposed to came and things like that. And it's like, because she's awesome.
The hospital experience was really rough. The recovery was hard. C-section is not the easy way out. It is so difficult, and so we also have a vlog about that if you haven't seen that, our hospital stay. But it's a really sweet time getting to know the baby. And she lost so much blood that even the doctor was like, I haven't seen this much blood in the C-section, and like the floor was like bloody and things like that. It's like, it was gross. Yeah, so I lost tons of blood, and they underestimated how much I had lost before the C-section even started, and so I had to have a blood transfusion,
like 2
units of blood,
2 bags.
That made me feel a lot better, and then my levels were still low, so I have been recovering. But now I feel a lot better at 5.5 weeks, but it was really hard. I'm glad to be done with that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are tons more details we would love to tell you, but we talked too long, so this video would be too long.
Yeah. If you guys have any specific questions, please leave a comment down below. There will be a big, giant, humongous
announcement.
There you go. Announcement.
It's big, guys. And it's exciting, and we're taking you all along.
It's life-changing. You guys will be with us the whole way through.
So that will be soon. So subscribe if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's tell you our baby's name, finally.
The reason why it took this long for the baby's name to come out is because I actually had a plan for doing the whole baby reveal.
It was going to be very fancy. We're busy. We are so busy. So this is what it is.
Yeah. Drum roll, please. Her name is Reina Joanne Johnson Moreno. Oh, baby.
You don't like your name? I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm so cute.
It's okay.
Happy chill baby. Happy chill baby. Reina means queen. Joanne is after my grandma who passed away last year, and it also is John's sister's name, spelled the same way, pronounced the same way, and so we love that. And then Okay, we'll finish up real quick. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and let us know what you think of her name in the comments below.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.